Ballpark Nation presents Extra Innings. All things baseball, movies, and, well, everything.
And welcome back to Ballpark Nation's Extra Innings. We have a fun episode for you today because we're going to be focused on one of the best, most iconic brands in AAA baseball, the Round Rock Express. We went out to Del Diamond and chatted up with Round Rock Express president Chris Almendarez, and we're going to reshare an interview we did with the new play-by-play voice of the Express, Rylan Colbray. So check it out, and make sure you get out to Round Rock to catch a ball game. And we're excited to have Chris Almendarez out here, the president of your Round Rock Express. All right, Chris, new season's upon us. We're actually recording this before it starts. Different kind of season for you guys because now you get to promote having the World Series champion Texas Rangers being their AAA team. And I think it's even cooler because so many, Evan Carter, that spent a lot of time with you guys was one of the key contributors. What are you looking forward to most this year from that lens?
Well, look, I think when you think about minor league baseball, you think about community and the things we do that we can control. Texas Rangers, we're a development team for those guys. Yeah. So as our players come in, the biggest thing that we want to do is give them an opportunity to get them ready to play at the next level and develop them and get to a World Series. So when you win a World Series, this is really the first time that we've ever had, one of our our team win the World Series. And so the success of the Rangers, the success of our team last year, there's a lot of guys that have played at Del Diamond, played in Round Rock Express uniforms that were on that team. Evan Carter, Jose Leclerc, Josh Young. These are guys that were big contributors, Spores, who closed the game out. He pitched for us, and so it's neat to see those guys. And I think the coolest thing is our fans like getting a chance to actually see these kids come in. You're this close here, the intimacy here at Del Diamond, and then now you're watching them win the World Series. So it's going to be amazing. I think it's changed our business.
I know one of the cool things about minor league baseball is you guys share best practices, that kind of stuff. Did guys like Sugarland and other teams, did you reach out to them? What did you do to kind of make this thing run as far as celebrating that World Series?
I think one of the things with having Reed run was part of the Astros for so many years, right. And just kind of the his experience and the things they did. He's really good about sharing ideas, and we've always, even when he was the president of the Houston Astros and we were still affiliated with the Rangers, when we changed back to the Astros, there are things that he shared with us that they did at in their minor league affiliates and things like that. But look, Marty Cordero and Omaha, there are guys, Brad Taylor, guys that have been parts of championship teams that we go out, we meet in some of our meetings and just kind of kick ideas around. And, look, the great thing is in our industry, when you win, everybody supports you and people are happy for you. Because what we do behind the scenes to get ready for this, you try every year to get to this point. And when you do, let's just celebrate it.
Marty Cordero, longtime friend of the show, by the way. You talked about community. And one of the things we've had you on some of our other shows, the Round Rock Express are so tied into Round Rock's community. I want you to talk a little bit about, for those of you who are just watching, never been to a minor league baseball game ever, how important is it that you are proactive in the community and not just a place people can go at night to watch baseball?
I think that when you look at our crowd and you look at the people that are coming, the baseball folks, there's a small group that are really following our players. A lot of it is about community. It's about what are the nights that we're doing, what are we doing in the community, and that's one of the things our ownership challenges us to do is get involved in the community. Tim Jackson, our GM, and I spoke today at the Rotary Club, and really we're giving our message. What do we do? I think our job in being part of the game of baseball is we bring joy to people's lives through the game of baseball. Whatever you're going through, whatever's happening, you come to Del Diamond for 2.5 hours and we're going to take off your mind and watch baseball game. Now, the partnership we have with the Texas Rangers, they control the players. I don't make any roster moves.
Don't anybody call to yell at him about what.
But you're basically the hand you're dealt with. But the thing that we'll do, they'll break camp next week. We'll have a team meeting. We'll talk to them. We'll say, hey, look, we want to do everything we can to get you ready. So when you get the call that you're with the Texas Rangers, that's what your ultimate goal is, and that's what we're going to try to do.
You guys have stepped up for this community in Round Rock outside of the line so many times. COVID, you were both the testing center and then a vaccination center. The fire last year. Does being so ingrained in it make it easier for you to step in and say, how can we help?
That's what we're called to do. I think when you think about Del Diamond, you think about the Round Rock Express. Number one, I said it earlier, it's to bring joy to people's lives through the game of baseball. The number two thing that we do is we're in customer service, so we want to serve others. Whether it's watching a baseball game, but when somebody walks in through the doors of Del Diamond, how can we serve them? And especially when our brothers are hurting outside the walls of Del Diamond. The tornado a couple of years ago, Chief of Police Alan Banks called me, Chris, we need to use use your parking lot as Command Central. Absolutely. Here's Stu Scally, our assistant GM. Give him a call. Here's Gene Croft, our director of stadium operations. Get him a call. Those guys are going to work with you. I was at spring training, but the connections we have to jump up and step in, and that's the thing we're always looking at doing. You know, Dell Diamond, the Round Rock Express is so much bigger than the game that's being played on the field. It's like, what can we do outside these walls? And so when things happen, we want to be the first to kind of raise our hand and get involved in the community, and we just think it's the right thing to do. You know, I think, you know, everything we do, we want to be first class, and so taking care of people, that's one of the things that we strive with our staff to say, look, let's bring joy to people's lives through the game of baseball, customer service number one, and let's be first class in everything we do. And if we live by those things, I think we're gonna hit the ball out of the park.
Okay. You got some changes going on around Rock. Obviously, we all know about Major League Baseball's dictation of what they needed. How will the fan experience here be improved over last year? What do we have in mind for the fans?
The first thing you can see is our new video board.
Oh, wow.
We got a brand new video board. It's vibrant. I mean, I think the cool thing is on a night like this, or even in the evenings, you're going to really see that thing pop it as a day. But really, the video portion is going to be pretty cool. So when you see, you know, replays and things like that, that's going to be really neat. The outfield LEDs are another thing that we're doing. You know, that was all brand new. The field's brand new. Wall pads. I mean, it looks like a brand new field.
It does.
As you can see in right field, unfortunately, we got rid of our swimming pool. First time in
I never got to get in there anyway.
We shed a little bit of a tear on that deal. But one of the things per the new PDL guidelines with Major League Baseball is we run short in our clubhouses. So we're building a visiting clubhouse where the pool was. It'll be ready in 2025, so we'll have construction this year, but we'll start going vertical hopefully next week, and people will see that kind of construction throughout the year. And then one of the things, our partnership with the city, they've covered the clubhouse. We put the video board, we did the outfield LEDs, and we're actually starting kind of the process of upgrading our suite level. So some of the suites, we're kind of doing overhauls, new furniture. Suites 4 and 5, we knocked that wall out and kind of built a bigger meeting space, and I think it's going to be the Cody Pools Lounge. They were our sponsor of the pool, so we moved them over there, but they're excited. It's a great opportunity for different companies to kind of come in, and a little bit mid-sized company to kind of come in and entertain their folks.
All right, so people come out to the ballpark. There's such a, I think most people love theme nights. There's a small percentage of people that you're yelling at clouds. They don't need to care. What are some of the things that you're really excited for as far as a good theme night? You
know, first I got to say Napoleon Dynamite. You know, we get a list.
Wow.
We get a list of different things, and Laura Fregoso, our senior vice president of marketing, when she sent us the list of, hey, what about these people and are available, and I didn't realize it's the 20-year anniversary of Napoleal Dynamite. And
wow, I didn't.
Yeah,
first of all, don't say that out loud.
2004. Yeah. So both my boys, Chase, as you know, Chase is 27, Luke's 22, but that was the time where they were coming up, and you know, look, it was a cult movie that we started watching. I think the coolest thing was my in-laws came up one time and the boys made them watch it, and then Chase had a birthday party and they're all wearing Napoleon Dynamite shirts, and I'm excited because John Heater will be here, the actor that played Napoleon Dynamite. So that's going to be in I think in August, and then. You know, look, we're playing as the Round Rock Briskets. We had so much success last year at the Round Rock Donuts.
Killer logo. Everything about that's killer.
Well, look, we had the success with the Round Rock Donuts last year. We're going to run that back, but we're also going to do the briskets this year. And those things are always pretty exciting. I was the guy that was always kind of scared of, hey, let's don't give out a jersey because is it going to hurt our merch sales? But what we found is when we make the jerseys, people are buying the hats and the accessories to make the whole outfit. So we're excited about it. Around Father's Day, we're going to have Shooter McGavin. So the Happy Gilmore fans, he's coming out. So those are just fun things because I think we were talking about earlier, just our age and kind of growing up in the things that I get, that I want to buy online or something. It's now we're able to do some of that stuff that I never could do when I was a little kid. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I think the thing I'm the most looking forward to is your Friday the 13th night. I'm definitely coming out as a fan for that. I can't wait to see what y'all are going to do. All right, we're going to play a little rapid fire real quick.
Okay.
All right, we're going to both pair up to here.
Okay.
All right. Are you a hot dog or nachos guy at the ballpark?
Nachos.
Wow. Okay. Godfather or Harry Potter?
Godfather.
I can't imagine anybody picking the other one. I mean, I love Harry Potter just as much as the next guy. All right. First time at a new ballpark. Where does Chris sit?
7-year-old Chris sat in the outfield. 51-year-old Chris wants this. I think I want to be on the first base side. I like watching the right-handed batters, and I love watching the kind of the swings and things.
Okay, great. And last but not least, outside of the Round Rock Express, which team in minor league baseball do you think has the best brand and does the most with that brand?
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot now. I really like. I mean, earlier Durham, and I just been a fan. Durham Bulls and Bull Durham. Mike Burling's a good friend of mine. I would say Durham. That's look. One of the things we're pushing for is interleague play and Pacific Coast League to play international league. I want the Iowa Cubs back. I want the Memphis Cardinals back. Nashville, but I really want Durham Bulls to come here, and I want to take our team out there.
That's a brilliant idea. He is Chris Almendarez, president of your Round Rock Access. No, let me try that again. That's a brilliant idea. This is Chris Almendarez, president of your Round Rock Express. Thanks for being on Ballpark Nation, and good luck this season.
Thanks for having me.
And welcome back to Ballpark Nation's Extra Innings. And if you're going to have your first guest of the season, it might as well be the voice of your hometown, Round Rock Express. We've got Rylan Cobry on the show. Rylan, first of all, congratulations. This has to be the beginning of a step toward a lifelong dream, right? You're now the voice of the Round Rock Express.
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me on. Really excited about being here, and yeah, it's been a crazy couple weeks. I'm definitely thrilled at the opportunity, and for me, obviously it was an exciting time to get the call to be the voice of the Express, but then also to call some games at spring training last week for the Rangers. Was really that it's been a dream, everything the last month. So I'm very fortunate. I think I say this a lot to people. I really do believe I work for the best ownership group in all of baseball.
Oh, I think you do too.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Sanders Baseball just takes care of their people, and they're so good to us. And so I'm very fortunate to be here.
I teach a broadcasting class, and last year Robert Ford, voice of the Astros, came on, and he was talking about how much easier his job got when he went from the minor leagues to Major League Baseball. What is that new workload going to look like for you now that you're still doing your other stuff with the Express, but now you've got to prepare your own game notes and all of that stuff?
Yeah, I think one thing I've always prided myself on since I've started working in baseball is being versatile and being able to do a lot of different things. I still, every once in a while, will jump in to Spike, the mascot, around here and be
What?
Spike. I know. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
I don't know that you are either, but
I don't
that's
want to.
fun.
But it's on the rarest of occasions. But whatever is needed from our front office, I'm willing to do. And so everywhere I've been, every stop that I've had in minor league baseball, I have focused on making sure that from a public relations standpoint, we're always in a great spot. And then wherever else I'm needed, I can be there. So this isn't necessarily new for me. Also adding in the broadcasting role, everywhere I've been, I've kind of done, had my hands in everything. And so, doing my game notes every day, I've been doing game notes the last few years. So that's a nice part where it's like, okay, I do these, now I can use them on the broadcast. So that's helpful. And it's exciting for me to be able to share the notes and the nuggets that I find every day in the clubhouse when I'm talking to guys that I can use for game notes that I can always use every night on the broadcast.
I know on this show, we don't always talk about the on-field stuff because the on-field stuff isn't up to you guys as the Express, but it has to be exciting because the Rangers coming off their first World Series, but they're doing it with a still very stacked farm system. The Express should be really good this year. How much of that are you excited about? It's your first season calling AAA baseball, but probably a team that could be contending for the PCL by when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I said this last week when I was doing those games for the Rangers. We won 89 games last year, and a lot of our roster is coming back because the Rangers win the World Series. There's no room for these guys that were with us last year to join the big club. And so there's this log jam. And fortunately for us, it means we're probably going to win a lot of games again this year because these guys are back with us. I mean, we don't have a roster until next week, but you can kind of fill out the puzzle a little early right now and see that a lot of our lineup is back. So it's really exciting. And not only that, but then you got the guys coming up right now, and a guy like Jack Leiter, who we saw a little bit of at the end of last year, probably won't make the 26 man to start the season. So we'll probably have him here with us in Round Rock. So it's exciting, and last year was a great season for us both on and off the field, and I really expect this year to be even bigger as we're kind of coming off the heels of the Rangers World Series win.
How much of that is going to help sell the team? I mean, like, having been through 2 World Series, everybody's thirst is a little bit deeper if you're a fan of that team. So, I mean, do you expect to see a more packed Dell Diamond. Not that you don't already do well. And one of the things I've noticed is that Dell Diamond's pretty 50-50 at the ball game between Astros and Rangers fans. Do you think that's going to start to tip, or just what can we look forward to for you guys celebrating the world title?
I'd say we've already kind of seen the energy for this season early in the offseason after the World Series win. It didn't really feel like we had an offseason. You play, I mean, you know this, the season goes so long when we play all the way up until the end of the World Series. And then you got the parade, and then it's just like that, you know, the holidays are here. So it just has felt like we had our caravan as well. It just has felt like the momentum has continued to build, and we didn't really have an off season because the energy and excitement has really carried over. So I do expect this year to be different from that respect. I just think that people are looking forward to Rangers baseball, and as you said, we know what the Astros presence is in this area. I do think that you'll start to see a lot more Ranger fans coming through our gates. And, you know, we saw it with our caravan. I mean, our Rangers caravan is an event we do in the off season. It's sold out. We've never sold it out faster than we did this year.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a packed house for that. And I expect it to be the same way for our season.
Yeah. And I got to imagine too, that you're even going to have Astros fans root for their hometown Express, because you can separate and know that that's going to be a great squad.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, this is the beauty of minor league baseball, as you know. Whether you love the Rangers, you hate the Rangers, we're still going to have bobblehead giveaways. We're still going to have great things going on around the ballpark. So any night you come here, there's something going on for every single fan that comes through our gates.
Well, speaking of which, there was at some point in my life where I started to get a little tired of the alternative food-based names. And then you go and you turn it all the way around with the Round Rock. Like I was so over it that I didn't even see your initial tweet, and it was my co-host that was like, "Oh God, I need a hat and a shirt." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" How much fun was developing that? And talk to me a little bit about becoming the Round Rock Briskets.
Yeah, you know, the alternate identity game, every year it feels like there's something catchy that you got to go on Twitter and see, or X, I should say. You should go on and see. And I feel like we were kind of the buzz of this offseason with our alternate identity. So yeah, we are going to be the Round Rock Briskets. I mean, it fits for our community. This makes sense. Last year with the Round Rock Donuts was such a big hit, and we're bringing it back again this year with that. And so the development process, Joe, who runs the Rail Yard Team store, he's a mastermind. He's so good at coming up with this stuff, and so he's getting all the merch in right now. I got a new sticker. I wish I would have brought my
I pre-ordered everything already.
Yeah, you got to. So no, it's been really fun, and I think our fans, the feedback we've already gotten for it has been really cool to see.
I think one of the things you guys do well, and I think the Hooks do it well, I think the Durham Bulls do it well, is your main identity is classic. It feels like what any fan of baseball can like, and then you have a lot of fun with the alternative stuff, the briskets, the donuts. I love it when you guys do the whole Austin Senators thing. It's got to be fun to work for an organization that can pivot that much and really can appeal to just about everybody with one of their looks.
Yeah, and I think this is really a credit to Laura Fregoso, who's our senior vice president of marketing. She's so good at keeping the brand intact. And then we also, like you said, we pivot. I thought Round Rock Donuts, that the weekend we had last year, it says a lot that we're bringing it back. I know sometimes you don't see that. And the energy around that weekend was so big that we're bringing it back again this year. The community got behind it. And I think everything that we do, we understand that we're doing it for this community. And Round Rock Briskets, it totally fits again for what this area is all about. You know, I coming down here didn't realize beforehand how big brisket is in this surrounding area. And I feel like all I eat is brisket now. So this makes sense.
All right, so I'm not a man to tell. I'm never going to be in the business of telling you your business, but when the briskets are playing and if somebody gets struck out, you have to say that's a Round Rock burnt end. I mean, I'm just saying.
I haven't even thought about, yeah, I haven't thought about the way I can use it on air, but that's a good start. I'm gonna have to start formulating some ideas.
I know we're just about out of time, but obviously your schedule is populated with giveaways, bringing back the Austin Black Senators night. Talk to me about how much that's grown. I mean, I've seen people from all over the country order the Black Senators stuff. People forget that the ballpark is actually still there. You can go see it. In fact, where Chris's son is coaching. So,
Yeah.
how big has that gotten, and are you surprised to see how big it's gotten?
Yeah, I think again, I just mentioned how before I came down here, I didn't know much about the briskets. I didn't realize how important baseball was to the Austin area from the start, and Willie Wells and his influence on baseball, and the number of great players from not only the Austin area but the surrounding areas. I think that night and us honoring the Austin Black Senators is really important to remember how that is really the start of some of the greatest baseball players ever, that for a long time did not get the recognition that they deserved. And so we take a lot of pride in that night, and also in, as you said, in that brand and that logo, because we do see, the that hat around the area a lot. We see obviously our Classic Express hat a lot, but you go around downtown Austin, you'll see that cap as well. And so it is a really important night for us. And also I kind of gave myself a little bit more of a history lesson on it this off season, because I just didn't fully understand and comprehend how important the Austin Black Senators were to the community. And Chase Almendarez is doing a great job as a head coach at
Yeah,
Houston.
really turning that program around, actually. Yeah.
At 100%. And so it's cool that the tie is there too now, back to Del Diamond to there, with Chase leading the helm for Houston Tilton.
Okay, I got to ask about one more theme night in specific. You're not the only one having it, but no one's given me a straight answer yet. What the heck is Wait, Who Are These Guys Day? Can you answer that question?
Not yet.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna, yeah, I'll hold off. But no, we're we're all I'll say is we're looking forward to it, and yeah, that'll be coming soon. But no, I don't have a straight answer for it. Sadly, I'm gonna have the same answer you've probably gotten a bunch of times.
Yeah. You think look, I promise I won't tell anybody. All right. Well, again, everybody that needs to come and check out the Round Rock Express, whether or not you live in Austin, if you're doing your baseball trip, Dell Diamond's been called one of the finest facilities in minor league baseball. And dear Chandler Rome, Astros beat writer, Princess Day is important. Don't be a grumpy old man, and also unblock me on Twitter. Thank you very much. And he is Rylan Cover, the voice of your Round Rock Express. Rylan, congrats again, and thanks for being on Ballpark Nation.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And as we continue on with Ballpark Nation's Extra Innings, we are joined by regular guest host Emily Nyman from Break Balls Pod and television reporter and amazing 70s bullpen beard, Gary Warren. Did I say television reporter? You're a producer, not a reporter.
But I could report on producing the fact that there's no work for anybody right now. So my reporting is done.
We are heading toward, well, now we're on a downer. Who's having a worse week then? Television producers or Shohei Ohtani or his interpreter? Emily, before we jump into what we think, for those people who maybe have crawled out from under a rock to listen to this episode, break down the chronology of what's happened, at least as you saw it.
So basically, I think the timeline really is the first Ohtani's camp came out saying that he had like wired money for his interpreters, gambling debts, and that's what happened. And then not too long after that, it was, wait a second, no, we didn't do that. The money was stolen from us. Or the interpreter also had some kind of quote in there too. I almost couldn't catch up because, Jim, if you remember last week, I was a little under the weather. I was sleeping all day. I wake up, my fiance's like, Ohtani's betting. And I was like, wait, he did what? Who cares? Like, I didn't even process it. And then I was like, wait, what the hell happened? Well, so that's my synopsis, everybody.
That still makes you more informed than most of the people on Twitter who commented on it. Gary, lots of twists and turns, lots of changing of stories. A lot of it doesn't pass the smell test in a lot of ways. And one of the things that a friend of mine pointed out to is that when Ohtani's camp said, yeah, we paid off his gambling debts, that they were accidentally admitting to a federal felony, like wire fraud and everything else. But just on a, do we know the whole story level, Gary, where do you think we are as far as on a scale of 0 to 100, where are we as far as knowing what happened?
I think we're actually about 95. I really have a feeling that what Ohtani's people said at the beginning is what really happened. And I think then that his legal department, the Dodgers legal people, MLB, they're all like, wait a minute, we can't have our superstar have this on his career. I mean, this could follow him, make him another Pete Rose, and they can't have that. And especially when the Dodgers owe him $900 billion over the next 200 years or something. So I have a feeling that the powers that be got involved and started muddying the waters to confuse it and make him seem like he was completely removed from the situation. But my gut says that the very first story we heard is probably the truth.
I'm probably with you. I don't believe for a second that Pete Rose, that Shohei Ohtani was pulling a Pete Rose. I think those two guys have been friends forever. There is a certain, because talk about the language barrier with Japan, there's a cultural barrier too, and they just treat loyalty and honor and all that stuff way different than we do. I really believe Ohtani was trying to help a friend out and stumbled into something he didn't realize and committed the great American sin, Emily, of being honest.
Yeah, to be honest, like the terminally online baseball fan in me really wants it to be the worst case scenario because of like on some like screw the Dodgers type stuff and seeing their fans like really scramble and sweat it out. But I'm with you guys that I think that it is probably the first thing, that it was probably his good friend who's, it's his best friend allegedly. Like that's always the story that's kind of sold about the two of them.
Yeah.
And told him he's in some hot water. Ohtani said, I'm a freaking gazillionaire. Let me help you out. And then found out, oh, wait, actually, sports gambling is illegal in California, and I'm not allowed to actually wire money to a bookie. So then we got he stole money from me. But the only thing that doesn't add up, if I can just add this, the interpreter kind of going down for this, getting fired, it was expected. But now that it's like an investigation, so I'm really interested to see how this pans out, because they could be good friends, but I don't see someone sacrificing their freedom for Ohtani, and that's kind of what's on the line here, depending on the real nitty gritty of what happens.
Well, I think you make an excellent point. And I think one of the things that came out with particularly like fans of the Astros were, we just want to see that the investigation is fair, because rightly or wrongly, we have issues about how the investigation in 2019, 2020 happened. But you notice that Major League Baseball didn't announce that they were going to do an investigation until the federal government said they were going to do one. So I do think you'll get an honest investigation, right? Because the federal government sure as heck's going to do one. And I've heard somewhere where there's members of like the federal government that are, their ass is kind of grindy because they really expect Ohtani to collect the the majority of his contract in Japan, not paying American federal taxes, which
I didn't even
don't
think
know.
about
Your
that.
mileage may vary on that. What do you think, Gary?
Well, I think fair investigation with the asterisk of a rich person. So I don't know how truly fair it will be, but I think that if you're a representative, or whatever in Congress and you represent people that hate the Dodgers, you want their vote, so you want to stick it to them and at least make it appear like, hey, I'm all you Yankees fans, I'm supporting you. I'm going after the Dodgers, and if you're, at work, you're Texan, you're like, yeah, they said we cheated. He's cheating. We're going to get him. So I could see it being a lot of fanfare. I don't think anything's going to come of it.
What could come of it, Emily?
Well, I was just going to add that I know that my vote in November is certainly hinging on what side of this Otani situation either
Look, Biden,
candidate
Trump. I
falls
know
on.
Israel, Ukraine, and abortion, but we got to get down to the
Forget about that. Forget about women's rights. I need to know where you stand on Otani's betting.
Yeah, I heard Biden said that Sandy Koufax is going to pay for this. That's all I know.
It's okay because
I'm sorry. What was the question?
Because Trump said Mean Joe Green, so I don't even know what's happening. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the punishment will be. I certainly look. I care about the future of baseball. I did make a joke on our other show that the Astros actually really own Otani, and so I wouldn't want to give up the out in the potential World Series matchup. But
That's
no,
good.
I think he's good for the game, and I would hate to see him go down. And I don't think he will because I don't honestly think. I don't know what the punishment for that stuff is. I imagine it's a fine, and I'm sure he'll get a fine and he'll pay the fine, and that'll be it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I believe it's Rule 21, which is MLB's like their golden rule, so to speak, and that's a rule on all things betting. And obviously, betting on baseball is the big no-no, and that's what will get you a lifetime ban. But even if this came out that Otani technically because he paid this, that, or the other thing, they're allowed to bet on other sports. And obviously it has to be through legal avenues. And there's some gray area there with online betting and him being in California for at least some amount of time during the year. So I think that at the very least it would be that, which actually I don't even think it'll be that, to be honest, because that comes with a year suspension. And I don't think MLB is going to let Otani go down for anything. So I think that their investigation is actually going to be like aiding in his defense in terms of the feds are concerned, because I think that they really need him to stay on the level because this sport cannot handle another massive scandal like this.
From the Dodgers.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Of all teams.
I mean, just don't sign with the Dodgers and you're going to stay out of jail because Bauer certainly has not enjoyed things. I tell you what, though, the worst thing about all of this is it gave Pete Rose an excuse to talk. And I just wish it would go.
I know.
Gary, I mean, I don't know. Like, I am 100% supportive of Pete Rose's ban because it is the one rule you don't break. And I don't know where you fall on it because surely statistically he's one of the best players to ever play the game, but it's the one rule you don't break.
I'm okay if he goes in. I completely get it, especially because he did bet on Reds games. Because it changed. It was like I never bet on baseball. Then it was like I never bet on the Reds. Then it was like, well, I always bet on the Reds to win. So it's like there's only one more step. He probably bet on them to lose. They probably threw games. I get it. But I still think that as a player, he belongs in the Hall of Fame. But I'm not going to lose sleep if he doesn't go in. I don't really care that much.
Yeah, I think Pete Rose is a gigantic bozo for many, many reasons.
His haircut.
Mainly that he also is has allegedly, statutory raped teenagers when he was a manager player. So I think that he can go to hell. And I have not watched any video. I've had multiple people send me videos of his reaction to the Otani, and I just, out of principle, have not watched it because I could not give two shits about what he has to say about anything. I'm so glad that Fox got rid of his ass. Remember when they had him on like the post game for the postseason a few years ago?
Yeah, and
the hell were they thinking?
Baseball was like, "What are you doing, dude? He's banned from the game." Like,
it was horrible too. His commentary was dumb.
And didn't he have like really crazy just for men colored hair or something? Like I seem to remember it was like colored 87 from the box or something weird. Like
he borrowed Rudy Giuliani's, except his didn't run. Well, I will say that I can't trust any man of his age who still gets a bowl cut. I just can't. I don't know. It's a thing, but yeah, I do think that a lot of this is much ado about nothing. I think one of the things that does irritate, and Emily, you see me online on Twitter more than Gary does. Gary and I are Facebook people, but I'm always trying to fight arguments where I can convince people that maybe they're wrong or whatever. And I just got to stop, because now it's like Dodger fan blindly defending anything. And then God forbid another fan base raise a question and you're like, oh, why are you coming down without all the evidence? And it's like, no, I mean, it doesn't, the initial story doesn't pass the smell test, and you're not an asshole for pointing that out.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, it's okay for us to take in some information and even speculate. We're fans. We're not the feds. We're not MLB's investigators. So that's kind of why we're all online and having discourse, is to look at sports news as it comes in and react to it. And whether Dodger fans are really wanting to admit it or not, this is a huge story. This isn't something that's being whipped up from nothing into something. This is something, and it's worth being talked about. And this is if this happened mid-season, I mean, there's a lot more going on. So I'm not saying that it would have been swept under the rug. It would still be a huge story, but we'd all be invested in other things. But at this moment in time, everything is at like a standstill. We've all inhaled waiting for the season to start in the next few days. So something like this happening in this window of time where everyone is just kind of staring at their screen, waiting for baseball to happen. Of course, people are going to speculate, and Dodgers fans are kidding themselves, being like, it's obvious he didn't do anything. How is it obvious? Tell me how it's obvious that he's completely innocent. It's not. Not saying he did it, but not saying he didn't do it.
Yeah, it's the first time Dodgers fans don't want to be the center of the universe. It's weird.
Gary, having formerly lived in LA, has certain opinions about sneaking into Dodger Stadium with his Cardinals jersey under whatever he's wearing and then taking it off. And
yeah, to avoid getting stabbed in the parking lot.
Yeah, it happens. Well,
that's an Olympic sport, practically.
Like you pointed out, well, and before, like you said, Emily, we can only talk about Cole's elbow or Justin Verlander's shoulder for so much time before we realize other things have to be talked about.
Or I start crying, one or the other.
Start crying. I do want to do our predictions, because I think it's like morally responsible of us that we have to just, like, it's a moral imperative that you have to do that if you talk about any form of sports. And so I thought we would go through our division winners, wild cards, and who the two LCS matchups are, and then who we think the World Series winner will be. So we're going to start in the National League East. Gary, Emily, I'm taking the Braves. Gary,
Yeah,
anything different?
Braves, 100%.
Same.
Okay. We're going to skip the NL Central to the end of the show. See what we did there? All right. So National League West, I've got the Dodgers.
Dodgers.
Okay.
Dodgers.
My wild cards, I got a little wild cardy with that. So I'm going to take the D-backs and the Phillies to get back, and I'm going to put the Giants in the wild card. I have a feeling signing Snell might be the thing that's going to, they tried to make all these big moves and they came up short so many times. I'm going to pick them to get a little crazy and get back into the wild card.
I actually have Giants in a wild card too, I think. I'm going for, we got it. We've got it figured out. I'm going for Phillies, Giants, and the Cardinals as the other wild card team. But they'll lose in the, that playoff. It'll be fast.
Poor Gary.
I was thinking Phillies, Giants, and Padres. I'm a Manny Machado freak, so I have to give that to the Padres. Though the Cubs are kind of right there too. I feel like they're kind of teetering on the edge as well.
I think
They're
Padres
also kind of famous on the old left coast now, on Padre radio and stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been on their morning show a few times with Ben and Woods. I love those guys. It was a really exciting opportunity.
I think Padres are a little bit of a dark horse. I think people are kind of not giving them much due, and I was very close to having them on instead of the Cardinals for my third wild card, but we'll see.
Okay, so AL Central, I'm taking the Twins to win the world's most unwatchable division.
Agreed. Yep.
Same.
Twins as well. Okay. All right. AL East, I'm taking the Toronto Blue Jays. The Toronto Blue Jays to win the AL East. And I'll tell you guys, I've been picking them to win the ALS for about 7 years, and I think I'm just going to be right one of these times, and then I'm going to be like, I told you.
Jim, I'm never going to forgive you for this. I'm going to remember this forever.
Trust me, I know.
I have the Yankees still taking the division. I think they got the firepower in their lineup. I think that Carlos Rodon's gonna have a big comeback year. And to steal a phrase from the guys cross town in orange and blue, you got to believe at this point in the year. So I'm gonna believe.
Okay. Gary, who do you have in the East?
I'm going for Orioles. I have really a toss up between the Yankees and Orioles, but I have a feeling the Orioles are gonna win the division this year.
Okay, my wild.
I should have called in sick. You guys are just horrible. If I had known this ambush was coming, I would not have joined the show.
All I remember is last year you kept apologizing profusely before you didn't pick the Astros to win the division. So I don't know what you're talking about.
It was close. It was close.
It was close.
Fucking Rangers.
Close only counts in hand grenades and nuclear warfare. So let's see. My wild card for the American League. I'm going to take the Yankees, Orioles, and Mariners. Nobody coming out of the Central.
I'm going Rays, Yankees, and Mariners.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Rays, Mariners, and Blue Jays.
How sad is it that we pick 17,000 wild cards? Like,
I know it's so weird.
Let's just pick the 3 teams that don't get to go to the playoffs. It'll be a much faster show.
That actually is a kind of fun prediction idea.
Who's not coming?
The Royals are not coming to the playoffs.
They are not.
Let everyone else just deduce who our picks are by that information only.
Oakland A's are also going to be in Vegas before they're in the playoffs.
Right.
We're going to hop back to the NL Central. I'm going to take the St. Louis Cardinals to win the National League Central, Gary.
I love that you have the faith. I don't. I am going to pick the Chicago Cubs to win the National League Central. Because of Craig Counsell. I mean, they're bringing in one of the best managers in baseball. He's going to take the team, and it's going to be another dagger in my heart. And the rest of that will be, old man yelling at cloud. But I think Cubs are going to win the division, and they'll be the team to knock the Cardinals out of the playoffs.
And then we'll be doing this show called Suicide Watch, Emily. Emily, what about you for the NL Central? Who do you have?
I have the Cardinals. I think that they're going to eke it out.
Yeah, I think they're going to win it with like 86 wins. Like, I think,
Yeah.
Okay, the AL West.
I think that's being generous, to be honest. No offense.
Actually, but
there's no doubt who I've picked for the AL West. I'm taking the Astros. I think they actually win the division by 5 games this year.
I'm with you, Astros. I think Astros win.
I think Astros win easily, yes.
I love that you both said easily. So whenever it doesn't happen, like Gary, during playoffs, Emily is like my Buddha. She's like my Zen goddess. So she's just like, they're still really good. Calm down. Like they got down in that Yankee series in 2022. They got down like by 2 runs or something. I was like, oh my God, it's over. She's like, shh. So, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, don't worry. Magic is about to happen. And by magic, I mean just the Yankees. You shut down Judge. There was nothing left in that lineup.
Nothing. I think for the World Series, I think for the NLCS though, I'm going to take Dodgers and Braves, which I know is not an easy pick. And then ALCS, I have the Orioles and Astros.
That's my pick for both. I agree with you 100%.
I think the Braves are kind of, I know 2021, forget and ignore. We'll pretend that didn't happen. Besides that, I think that they are kind of choke artists. So I think that it's going to be Dodgers, Phillies in that NLCS. And as far as the ALCS, I'm going to say Yankees, Astros. I'm doing it. We're back.
Yeah, that 2021, obviously I know that World Series well. And that, to me, that like, I'm not even mad about that one because it felt like the Astros were the walking wounded at that point. Like there was just, they had that emotional win over the Red Sox where they like won 1 game down 8 at one point. I just think they had nothing left. And at least we're going to get AL rings at the ballpark next year. My World Series prediction is Astros over Braves in 7, but the Astros don't have home field advantage this time. And that is the key.
I'm going to, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say I'm horrible at predictions. Not that anyone is necessarily good at them, but I'm just like, I don't know. Cause I can't help it this time. I feel like I have too much. What's the word? I'm too superstitious that I feel like if I don't pick the Yankees, if I'm too literal about things, it's bad luck for them. So obviously I'm going to pick Yankees over Dodgers in this World Series.
That would be so sweet though, for real.
Cole's going to come back. It's going to be sick.
I would root for the Yankees in that World Series in a heartbeat. Gary?
I'm going to pick Dodgers over Astros. Just because I shouldn't be the only one to have a miserable year. So I want you to cry too.
I love that. We're so back. We're
But
so
here's the
back.
thing. The fact is, guys, is that you're a Cardinals fan and a Yankee fan. I don't have anything but gravy right now. Like the fact that the Astros got mentioned in an article today about this team feels a lot like the '09 Yankees. I'm like, oh my God, somebody compared us to the Yankees. I was like, yes. So
Who wrote that article, send me their ad because I have a few things to say to them. Are they kidding me? I'm offended by that article.
they said some of they basically coming up short the year before and then spending money on arms to kind of get over. I don't know.
2020, the 2008 Yankees didn't even make the playoffs.
We're right.
It was one of the terrible years, one of the 6 terrible years since I was 6 years old.
I will compare the Cardinals to the 2008 Yankees if I could.
That's perfect.
Talk a little. We have about 5 or 6 more minutes. I want to talk a little bit about game day traditions. Like Gary and I have had the same game day tradition since we've known each other. It's a picture of us in our jersey toasting each other. When I became a school teacher, it became soda, not beer. You've always got like your Bud Light, so everything's.
Well, I normally have I have the Budweiser. This year I decided, you know what? Ever since we've been doing it, the Cardinals haven't won, so maybe I'll switch it up. And I was going to get like a Busch beer, but you can only get that in 12 packs, and I don't want to have 12 Busch beers, so it's going to still be a Budweiser.
What I was telling Gary, Emily, like my boss saw me a year ago, like, why are you in a jersey? She's my new boss, and I was like, well, I told her the whole story. She goes, well, I bet you won't wear a whole uniform next year. I was like, you don't know who you're talking to. So I'll be showing up. I got high socks. I want to come in with some big league chew. I'm bringing a bat and a glove. I'm in it. I don't know. I won't wear spikes, but I'm in it to win it.
Are you going to do, the black under your eyes?
Oh yeah.
Have to.
Oh yeah. I don't even know what that's for, but oh yeah. Emily, what about you? Any big like traditions that you try to go through to get this thing on the right foot?
No, I don't really have any like opening day traditions besides watching it. Usually I'll take the day off, and this year I didn't even do that. So maybe that'll be the difference in the Yankee season. Like I have, having been a ball player for the majority of my life, I have dumb superstitions that are even more nonsensical. Like, oh man, I did not get a comfortable deep breath right before that first pitch. This season is screwed. Like that kind of stuff I'm talking about. So like, I just am nervous and excited, and I cry every year on opening day because I'm so happy that baseball is back, and I just love it so much, and I'm so happy that I'm not gonna have to watch anything besides baseball for like the next 6 months, from the time I get home from work until the time I go to bed. And that's my tradition, just being excited.
I definitely will, even if it's just the game day app, I watch every Astros game. Like sometimes obviously not watching the whole game on the actual television. But of course, this year now we've got season tickets, which is so just like Jessica's so excited. We're actually going to Madonna on Friday, but we might blow off Madonna to go to a third game.
What do you
think about that, Gary? Should I see Madonna before she's dead?
I don't know. I mean, the good thing about Madonna now is that she is doing greatest hits. For a while, she would just do like all new songs and then one medley of her first 4 albums. So at least now she's playing the hits. I'd probably go see the Astros.
Yeah.
I mean, when is it? You may get to see Madonna again, but when are you going to get to see the Yankees at Minute Maid Game 3 out of 162 in the season? So who knows when that'll come around again in the schedule?
We'll be at 3 and 4. We won't be at 1 or 2. And here's the thing. You're going to be so proud of me, Emily. I sold my game 1 tickets to one of my very best friends who is from Texas, but is a diehard Yankee fan. So while I do have a policy about selling to randos from other teams, I was like, I couldn't deny him. And back then we thought it was Cole Verlander. So he was like, and now it's sad.
It is kind of sad.
Now, Gary, I did see a prediction that shows Goldschmidt being traded to the Astros at the deadline. I would like that to come true.
I saw that. I don't see that happening, especially because he seems to be getting worse. So that means the Cardinals are going to extend him for 12 more years. So they're not letting him go. Unless he has a really good season, like an MVP season, and then he'll be your first baseman.
God, it would make it move. I'm not going to lie. All right, guys. Emily, make sure you can tell us. First of all, you're back on the air. When do we have your next episode coming?
My niece is being bat mitzvahed this weekend, so we don't have an episode this week, but we will be back next week. And we had one episode a few weeks ago, and it was great, and it was good to be back. And then we'll be back in full form starting. Oh, actually, wait, maybe not next week because my birthday is the weekend after, and there's a solar eclipse on my birthday, everybody. If you're listening on April 8th, there's going to be the Great American Solar Eclipse that's going to go across from the southwest and northeast. So you might get a good view of it depending on where you live. So we might have an episode that week depending on the weather. But
or if the world ends.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
If that's the one that turns the rivers to blood or whatever,
Like because you're as much a space nerd as you are a baseball fan, pretty much. Like I know you're fire. I couldn't care less
about an eclipse.
I don't care.
It's going to cross Texas, the path of totality.
Oh, no, I know. Like where it's actually passing just west of Austin. I have to. I'm working, so they set up some stuff for us to watch it. But Jessica has paid $250 to go watch it at a winery that they figured out it's going to be wide open with no city lights, so she'll have a great view of it.
Oh, it's going to be during the day.
Yeah, she's excited.
And if you drink enough wine, it's a full blackout anyway, so it's fine.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be back next week, the three of us, and then we'll be able to talk about some actual games we can overreact to. So we will see everybody next Wednesday.
And thanks for joining us, Chris and Rylan. We're going to be back next week. Gary, Emily, and I are going to jump back into talking a little baseball. It's been a great season so far, and guys, we're just barely in April.